In today's tutorial, I am going to be showing you how to make this beautiful layered cup. This is a cold cup from Starbucks that I bought for $3 where I live in Canada. And I did use some holographic, I believe you call it, vinyl underneath, and that was my first time working with it. So let me show you how I made and layered the vinyl for this beautiful cup. For this tutorial, this is what you are going to need. You're going to need your Cricut mat. These are the tools I will be using. I have my weeding tool, the scraper, and the scissors. I am going to be using this rose gold kind of shiny vinyl. This is just permanent vinyl, and then I also have some black scrap that I'm going to use. Again, permanent vinyl. Any type of contact paper or transfer tape that you would like to use to transfer your material. And then the cups. You could use hot cup, cold cup, doesn't have to be Starbucks, but we're going to do this one today. Let's get started on this project. So the first thing you are going to need to do is jump on over to your computer or whatever device you are using. I went to Google and I just Googled butterfly SVG. Now, of course, the SVG doesn't automatically come up, but it will come up with a few different layers. And what I did was I just went to a free online conversion tool. It's called picsvg.com. I'll put it right here on the screen. And I just uploaded that little JPEG image from the butterfly that I took off of Google. This is just for personal use. I fiddled around with it a little bit to what I liked, and then I downloaded it into an SVG. Like I said, this is for personal use only that I'm making this, which is why I did not have to purchase the SVG file. If you are looking to sell items, you do have to purchase the files. You cannot just use free files and sell them, or you can make your own and then you can sell those. Once you have downloaded the SVG file of your choice, you are ready to jump on over to Cricut Design Space. On the left-hand side, hitting upload there. And then we are going to go to upload image again. Browse and find that SVG file that you downloaded onto your computer. Go ahead and press on it and open. You can change the name here if you'd like, or you can just continue and save. Now in this next screen here, select the image you are wanting to upload and hit insert image. This will send it over to your Cricut Design Space screen right here. Just takes a minute. There we go. Once the SVG file is inserted, you can see here, I'm just highlighting it all together and hitting this button that says ungroup on the top right. Now I'm able to move these around a little bit. So this part I personally didn't keep because it was going underneath for the two little antennas, but you can totally just weld it together and attach it on this side. And this one is like this. So what I like to do so that the Cricut can recognize that I'm cutting two different colors, two different pages of vinyl, I'm changing the color, and I'm going to try to change it to something similar to that holographic vinyl that I'm using. Now if it's like this and you just want to make sure, just send it forward. You can either move it forward or send it to front. There's only two things on here, so it'll go where you want it. And this is what it would look like, for example. So now what I do is I'm just going to highlight it again and hit duplicate. This will duplicate both of them together. I'm doing one big one, and then I'm going to be doing about 4 small ones. So I'm just going to do this and keep duplicating the image. I am also going to be adding personalization and adding the word mama. So just for the purposes of this, I will quickly show you how I did that as well. Let's leave it like this for now, and I'll edit the font a little bit later, but I'm just showing you kind of the colors. So for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm only going to be using 2 colors just for really basic layering for those really beginners. I am wanting my personalization to be the same color as the top layer here of my butterfly. So I'm going to be cutting those in black. Now the reason I did this, I'm going to show you. When I go to make it, the Cricut is recognizing on the left-hand side here, you can see that I'm going to be cutting 2 different pages. So it is showing the black and the pink. Again, it doesn't have to be the exact colors of your actual vinyl, not a big deal. I'm just doing it so that you can visually see. So what I'm going to do first is put the black vinyl that I want into my Cricut and press cut. Good to go. As soon as that's done and I take the black part out, it is going to prompt me to load the pink part again. So I'm going to load that holographic vinyl and it is going to cut. I don't have to do anything else. It's going to prompt me to do it automatically because I have now told my Cricut I am doing 2 different colors, 2 different cuts. If I didn't change the color, that's still okay. It's a little more confusing, but the Cricut essentially doesn't know you're cutting 2 different colors. So you yourself will have to manually put different colors on the Cricut mat. It's just kind of a little bit trickier. So I find it easier to separate them on 2 completely separate cuts, each color on its own mat. Even if you have 1 mat, just 1 at a time, I find it a lot easier that way. So we're ready to continue and cut our first layer. Now for this regular permanent vinyl I'm using, make sure that your setting on your Cricut itself is actually on vinyl. If you are using the holographic vinyl like myself for the pink part, I would really suggest putting a higher setting on your Cricut. So I cut it on cardstock, to be honest, because the first time I cut it on vinyl, it did not weed at all. It did not cut through because the material was so thick for that vinyl. I would suggest looking into maybe changing the dial even a couple over from vinyl just to make sure that it cuts all the way through to make it for easy weeding. If you're not using holographic vinyl, don't worry about it. Totally ignore what I'm saying, but I just wanted to mention that in case you are. Now we are ready to weed it out, and I'll be right back once this is all weeded because it's going to take a little bit to do all of these little bits and pieces. Now what I like to do for layering vinyl is taking my Cricut mat, because it is sticky, and putting the decal with the paper on the mat. This makes it so when I am layering, I don't have to worry about the image and the decal actually moving, and it just eliminates that issue altogether. You're going to take your contact paper or transfer tape and put it on the first layer here. So because I'm only doing 2 layers, I will be doing the top layer first. If you were doing a bunch of layers, your very top layer is going to be the last one you're doing, of course. So you're going to start from the base and work your way up. Here I only have 2 layers, so the intricate design is going to be my top layer, and that's the one I'm starting with here. I am just using my scraper to adhere it to the transfer tape, lifting it up, and now I'm ready to layer it on top of the base, the holographic vinyl here that's pink. Lining it up really carefully, and once it's lined up to where you like, you push it down and you scrape again. This will get it to adhere together. You're ready to peel up and add it to your cup or whatever you are putting the decal on. Now, when it comes to a rounded surface like a cup like this, what I personally like to do is put the middle part down first. So the middle of the butterfly here, the body of the butterfly, and I use my finger to lightly press it down on the rounded surface. And then each side, one by one side at a time, I'm using my finger to go around the edge of the cup and press down. So like I said, one side at a time. The reason I do this is because sometimes you can get air bubbles or little kinks in your vinyl on these rounded edges if you don't do it carefully. You could totally use your scraper as well, but I really prefer to just use my hands and my fingers. I find I get the curve a lot better on these cups. And like I said, starting from the middle first is going to be the easiest way to do this, and then do one side and then the other side. If you're sticking it all at once, it might work for you, that's awesome, but honestly for me, 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work that way, and you get air bubbles, and it just kind of causes more mess because you have to rip it up and make a new one. I do it this way, and I have had great success doing it this way. You do whatever you are comfortable with though. I'm actually going to show you one more time how to do it, just so you can see kind of the layering technique a little bit easier. Again, we're only doing 2 layers today, just so you can see the basics of it. And then in another tutorial, I will do extra layers so you can really see how it's done. It's time for you, just so you get it. Using the scraper, super easy. Pulling away, I find it easier just to pull away that way. And then when we're lining it up, I'm gonna do it this way so that you can hopefully see what I'm doing. It is very hard to show what I'm doing, but I'm trying my best. Okay, so lined up, use the scraper to get it on there real good, and peel away. Easiest way to do it. Now this is kind of what the cup looks like. And I think I'm going to put this one right here. So let's do that. I'm obsessed with this cup. How freaking cute is that? So cute.